And for the victims, so Clause 15, pages 19 and 20, it is moved that Bill C-46 be amended in Clause 15 on page 19 by replacing lines 31 and 32 with the following into a minimum punishment of imprisonment for a term of 2 years, and on page 20 by deleting lines 1 to 4. So my argument here relies on decisions of the courts, including the Como decision, where there were light sentences given to those between, for young persons between the ages of 18 and 30. And the judge, Mr. Justice Provost, said in 2004 that those sentences were between 18 months and 3 years, and those were proportional to the offenses committed. So that's the first argument. Judges have already spoken to the leniency of those sentences. And for sentences that are 2 years less a day, that means that those people sentenced to that would be eligible for programs, because so then it's 2 years plus a day rather, because 2 years less a day there's no program, so there's no rehabilitation. It's much more difficult. So often in the case of impaired driving that results in the death of a person, there's really a cohort of people who really resist any rehabilitation, and there are outreach programs, and several provinces, including Quebec, put provisions into their legislation for those categories of people so that they have more serious sentences. So for me, a sentence of 2 years plus a day allows the person to really take a pause in their life and participate in rehabilitation programs, because often these people are addicts. Thank you, Senator. Senator McIntyre.
Thank you, Chair. Once again, I support Senator Dupree, in Senator Boisvenu in his amendment. We're dealing here with mandatory minimum sentences, and I don't agree with mandatory minimum sentences in all cases. For example, if someone steals a purse at Kmart, for example, he should not even receive a 1 day in jail. Unless he's been doing it, for years, and even then, But in cases of homicide, for example, we have mandatory minimum sentences for first degree, which is life imprisonment. Second degree can vary from at least 10 years to 25 years. So for this type of offense, I agree with Senator Boisvenu that 2 years is not unreasonable, and I would, for those reasons, I would support his amendment.
Merci. Any other comments before I come back to you, Senator Boisvenu? Senator Boisvenu, then.
You have to understand that what's set out in the bill currently is a first offense, a fine of $1,000, 30 days for a second offense, and 120 days for for a subsequent offense. So there's no deterrent effect at all with that. So C-113 at the time was proposing a 6-year sentence. So I think that 2 years seems to be minimally acceptable for someone who is driving impaired and kills a person. For the victims groups, a $1,000 fine makes no sense at all.
Of the motion, I think we're going to have a roll call.
L'honorable Sénateur Joyal CP.
Abstention.
The Honorable Senator Batters.
4.
L'honorable Sénateur Boisvenu. L'honorable Sénateur Carignan CP. L'honorable Sénateur Dagenet. L'honorable Sénatrice Dupuis.
Contre.
L'honorable Sénateur Gould.
Contre.
The Honorable Senator Omnivar.
Against.
L'honorable Sénateur McIntyre. The Honorable Senator Pate.
Against.
L'honorable Sénateur Pratt.
No.
amendement est
The amendment is defeated because the votes are equal. So we will continue.